This screencast will demonstrate how to debug JavaScript programs using Firebug. So I have a lab that we're going to do as an example right here. I brought up the corresponding HTML file in an editor over here. So the first thing, of course, that we want to do is make sure that we are working on the right HTML file. So I like to scroll down here and I will fill in my name. And my section. And my email address. Okay, so save that. And then we come over here and refresh. And of course, now I know I'm working on the right file. Okay, so what we're going to do is, you've noticed before that if you have Firebug, you will see, if it's enabled, a number up here indicating that you have errors. Okay, so if you want to see what those errors are, you would just click on this button right over here, and then you're going to see your errors show up right here. And so what it's telling me is I have a syntax error. And this particular HTML file has a number of JavaScript coding errors. So I've got a syntax error here, and it says, and a lot of times these messages can be pretty cryptic. So it says, missing semicolon before statement. The key thing that we want to look at is where it is in the file. So it's at line 103, column 7. And sometimes you can get a whole bunch of errors, but what you really want to look at is the very first error, because sometimes it could be creating an error after that that really isn't true. But I'm looking at this and I see VA space test variable, and I could already tell you, and you could figure this out, that we're missing the R in var. So let's scroll down to line 103. And so sure enough, I put my cursor right here, and that's 103, column 7. That's exactly where it says the error is. So I'll just go ahead and press, I'll type R here, and then I'll save that. And then if I refresh the web page here, we'll see I go on to the next error. So my next error is going to be at line 105, column 20. And the bottom line here is we just want to go and pick these off until we get rid of all of the errors. So I'm just going to demonstrate that here. So line 105, we have on column 20 we have an issue over here. And so what we have here is, let's see what it's saying. It's saying syntax error, unterminated string literal. Okay, so I've got something in the string, and that is the issue. And the issue right here is that strings, literal strings, you start with either a double quote or a single quote, but you have to end it. And we haven't ended it. So, and my syntax highlighting sort of gives you a clue on it, because I've got text in green, and you can see it continues on over here too. So we're kind of faking the editor out. So we really want to put a double quote here. Okay, and that'll make that go away. So I'll save that, and then I'll come over here and refresh my editor. Okay, and then we go on to the next one. Okay, so this one says syntax error, missing semicolon before statement, and that's over on line 109. So what do I have here? So a lot of times we need to figure out what the intent of this program was. So I've got var last name plus Flintstone in the string. So I'm thinking here the intent was this should not be a plus sign, this should be an equal sign. So we'll go ahead and change that, save that, and then we'll refresh it again. And then we go on to the next semicolon. I'm sorry, the next syntax error. And so that is down here on line 118. And we have an if statement with no Boolean equation in here. Okay, so there's a number of things we could do here. So I think what I'm going to do is just say, I'll put if first name equals Flintstone. I'm sorry, Fred. All right, well, let's see if that makes that error go away. So I'll save that. And now it does, and we go on to the next error, which is going to be on line 123. Oh, isn't that hilarious? Here's a fine error, okay? And it's saying missing parentheses after argument list, okay? Now, this is very obscure, okay? What is it really saying? Well, the problem here is that I started the string with a single quote, and here's another single quote where I'm basically saying the string is ending. So then JavaScript thinks that these are a whole bunch of variables. See how they're white? So what I wanted to do is actually, I could do two things. I could change these single quotes to double quotes, okay? Or I could put a backslash in front of this to escape it. But what I'm going to do is I am going to just change these to double quotes because it makes it more readable. Okay, and my editor, of course, wants to add those single quotes there. Okay, so here we go. So that should have fixed that. I'll go ahead and save that. Come over here and refresh. And we are on to the next error. Okay, so again, we are missing a parentheses after the argument list on line 127. Right, so it looks like here we have a double quote that starts our string, then we end our string here. I don't think that's what we want to do. I think what we want to do is get rid of that double quote. Actually, what we want is to say, we'll keep that a double quote. Okay, what we want to do is we want to put an escape there and an escape there. So now we can print out hi. I could have made these single quotes and kept those double quotes like that, but let's just do it this way. So we save that, come over here and refresh. And now we are down to a syntax error, missing semicolon before statement. And we'll go down to line 139, take a closer look at that. All right, so we are trying to use the number function here, and we are using these curly brackets, and that is incorrect syntax. What we really want is we want parentheses. Okay. Save that, refresh the web page. Then we are down to another syntax error on line 137. How did we miss that? It's interesting. And it says syntax error, missing parentheses after argument list. I'm sorry, line 143. Let's go back, 143. So we are missing a plus sign right here, okay? Because we want to concatenate the contents of number variable onto the string 37 colon space. All right, so we save that, refresh it, and then we have another one here up on line 141. Okay, and it says reference error number variable is not defined. So that's interesting. So I've got number variable here, not defined. So I should probably come up here and say number variable. And we got a whole bunch of issues with that. If I just say var number variable, then I'm going to have undefined issues here, okay, because I haven't initialized it. Because what I'll be doing here is I'll say undefined equals undefined plus 7. And that won't show up as a syntax error, actually. You'll just get some bad output. So I think what we're going to do is let's just initialize normalize this to 7. Okay, this way we should get 14 for our number variable when we output it. Save that. And our errors went away, but we really have one other error here, okay? And that's this one right here, because this goes on the end. Oh, I think the problem is this right here. This is not correct. So we want to say a plus sign right there. Okay, so now let's take a look, and here is all of our output. So this is a good example of how you debug code using Firebug. Okay, so when all the errors went away, then we're good. So my recommendation is that you pick them off one at a time, and after you do this for a while, these are going to just sort of pop out at you sort of naturally. Okay, that concludes this screencast on troubleshooting or debugging your JavaScript code using Firebug.